What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. You can roll over there and you can actually get free books and comics. I encourage you to do so and sign up for my newsletter to do so. It's right on there. I'll leave the link down in the description below, also at the end of this video. Definitely well worth it. Never miss a video. Never miss new releases. And we come out with lots of comics, which is why we do Comics Writer Pro Secrets. Not many people out there in the indie sphere come out with monthly books like I do, so I try to impart my wisdom upon folk who are trying to get into comics, trying to write comics, etc. And a lot that's come up lately has been the idea of the Marvel method of writing comics versus actually scripting things out. So what does that mean? And I'm going to do this by showing you. So I've got my Clockwork Dancer open right now. And this is the outline. So you see this outline right here. I'm trying to make it big enough to see. This is about what you give an artist when you do the Marvel method. You see that I've got just my bullet points. This is a little more than the whole outline. Oh, well. So I'm spoiling things that come out, but you give a paragraph, you give a page or so, you talk about what goes on, and then you give the premise to the artist. The artist then goes and draws it, makes up their own panels, etc., and comes back. So what are the good parts about this? One, it gives your artist a lot of freedom, right? So if you have an artist you really trust, and I say this, like, you have to be really on the same page for this to work. They can go about, do this, lay it all out for you, and then you go back, and as the writer, you fill in the dialogue afterward, right? So give a basic premise and then come back and do it. I have worked in this method before. I've got currently 2 books going under this Marvel method. Another benefit on the writer side is if you're like me and you've got 50,000 projects going on, or like Stan Lee, same deal, right? You can go about and ensure that you have time to do this, because it's a lot faster than actually scripting things out panel by panel. It allows you to get the stories out there faster. Again, you go back and do the dialogue. Now, what's interesting on the dialogue front is, you really have to be open about what you're going to do afterwards, because it might not be exactly as you envisioned, since the artist is going to be breaking things down and pacing things kind of the way they want. How I mitigate this with my Marvel method is I actually don't do it like the above here. So I don't just give like a couple paragraphs and then hope it goes. I break it down. So I actually do it page by page. And I say pages 1 and 2, we're going to battle. Pages 3 and 4, we're going to have our, resolution from the battle. Page 5, everybody's going to raise a toast, and that will be the end of the book, if it's a 5-page story or whatever. But so I break it down a little bit more. So it's kind of like a hybrid Marvel method, right? I actually break down the pacing of the beats that I want the artist to do within the story. And that helps mitigate a little bit of, just allowing the artist complete free reign. Now, I don't recommend this. If you're a new writer, I really don't recommend doing the Marvel method. I think you should really get your grounding first, understand comics, write a ton of comics, have a ton of comics produced so you can really know what you're looking for before an artist goes off and kind of does this and you're kind of stuck with whatever book you got. It's really important to understand the fundamentals first before experimenting with different things like this. And you'll find that your artists will appreciate a little bit more guidance too, especially if you're working with amateur artists as well. They're not in a position where they know how to do something like this either. On the other front, a lot of people hire foreign artists when they're starting out because they're a lot cheaper than, American artists. If you're hiring a foreign artist who English is their second language and all that, this is not going to work out whatsoever. You are not going to be able to tell a story in this regard. There's going to be too much interference there in between things. And so I wouldn't recommend it that way. So do this only if you're an experienced writer, and do this only if you have a good artist who you're really, really tight with and you're on the same page. Now, otherwise, this is how you script a comic. You go to your page 1, and if you've read Clockwork Dancer, you know exactly how this goes. You break it down by the panel. I usually start with an establishing shot if I can, and then I try to establish where it's at so people know where they're at. This is true in Scotland, 1898. About half a page from the top, we'll have the credits pan out, and then we got the Clockwork Girl, who is powered down head to her chest. We got our dialogue. We got the title card. and then we keep going on. So, and this is kind of how I lay things out panel by panel. I don't usually tell them how to format the page, right? Unless I have something clear in mind. I talk about having a small panel up top for the establishing shot, and I talk about having a big one for the title credits because I really want to. That's the title credits, really showing off everything that's going on in the book. But beyond that, I don't tell her, put this panel here, put this panel here, put this panel here, unless I really, really have something. If there's sometimes I've got a gag, like somebody walking across the screen or the page rather, in different spots in kind of the same shot, and I want to layer those like that. That's the only time I really tell the artist how to lay things out. Beyond that, I'd rather have their skills be put best to use, and they know how to make a page look good a lot better than I can as a writer. So this is how you break it down. Otherwise, this is not the Marvel method. This is the standard way of doing comics. The Marvel method, like I said, is really just an odd way of going about things because it leaves so much up to the artist. You just give brief paragraphs and descriptions and things like that, and the artist kind of goes with it. So hope that helps you all. Like I said, if you're a novice at this, I definitely don't recommend you doing the Marvel method. I definitely stick with this first. Write yourself 100 scripts like this before you go anywhere near that. And you might be going, oh my gosh, 100 scripts. And I say, yes, 100 scripts. If you really intend to be a professional at this and aren't just doing this as an amateur hobby, you should knock out 100 scripts. No problem. It is very important to do this in mass quantity to understand what you're doing. The more pages you write, the better your pages are going to be. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. Leave a comment down below. And I should mention that I've got a Kickstarter going on right now for my Flying Sparks Volume 4. This is the 4th installment in the graphic novels I've been coming out with. We've already hit 8,200, which is great. Would love to get to 200 backers sooner rather than later. So go and click on this. Back the book, read some good comics. You can see exactly the work that I put into this stuff and exactly the consideration that I put into this stuff. This book is not written with the Marvel method. I go panel by panel and tell the artist what to do. Here, this is an origin of a bad guy back here, and he's getting experimented on, and you see that his arms are turning into these wood stocky things, which are really crazy. And then we also have another origin going on in the same page. So I try to pack a lot of story into this. You don't get these like 5 pages of sitting there talking and then before things go on. Each issue, of which I have 3 issues per volume, has a full story in it. This is a lot like older comics, and I'm trying to bring back that style of writing because I think modern comics are really off the track. And if you agree with me, please back today. Support the channel, support the books. We need your help. This is how we get things made. This is how we pay for the art. Appreciate you guys being there. See ya.